NACURH 1987, Central Michigan University. 1,500 delegates from 157 schools across the United States and Canada come to Michigan to take the challenge of going beyond, to boldly explore your own new dimensions. This series of videotapes should provide insights into the planning and execution of the 1987 National Conference at CMU. The first tape provides an overview of the conference planning and events. The second two tapes reflect the reactions and suggestions for future hosts from committee chairs, conference coordinators, and conference advisors as recorded immediately after the conference. We hope that this videotape provides insight for future hosts so they will not have to, as we say here at Central, reinvent the wheel. Pre-conference was a busy time for conference staff and the National Board of Directors, the NBD. Core conference staff arrived back to campus on Saturday after a 2-week break from classes. The first order of business was to set up the staff office in the towers. Our office was housed in a converted computer lab in the Residence Hall complex, which gave us access to several computers and printers as well as typewriters. We had 2 phone lines installed in the office. However, we found through the course of the week that a larger office with more storage space would have been to our benefit. Staff meetings were held first thing each morning so that the coordinators could facilitate a walkthrough of the day's activities. These meetings were also used to schedule work, troubleshoot, and to team build. Many hours were spent just before the conference in confirming the housing arrangements. Room rosters were compared to delegation listings to make sure that there were a minimum number of errors. Once this was done, the hospitality committee went to work on the door decorations, which gave the name, school, and region of each delegate staying in a room. The hospitality committee also put the finishing touches on the bulletin boards. The body of the bulletin boards were actually finished in January and acted as a primary means of communicating information to delegates during the conference. The boards contained program changes, daily information newsletters, and information on social activities. Many long hours were also spent typing up the name tags and stuffing information packets for the NCCs. Meanwhile, the travel committee was busy putting the finishing touches on their directional signs, getting them laminated and posting them around campus. This committee was also responsible for picking up the vehicles from motor pool and putting together the airport shuttle schedule. Over in the Beddoethorpe Food Commons, conference staff was busy setting up the display area. Extra outlets were brought in to handle the soon expected crush of displays. The MBD began arriving on Sunday and went right to their work. Meetings were held in the Sachs Herrig Recreation Room. This room was wide open and allowed us to set up a square meeting area for the board. Back at the towers, the hospitality committee was busy setting up their room, which was arranged in the downstairs recreation room of the towers. Arrangements were made to staff the hospitality room around the clock during the conference. Snacks, beverages, movies, and music videos were available for the delegates' enjoyment and entertainment throughout the conference. On Tuesday, development team facilitators went through training in the Heidelberg House in the basement of the towers. By actually sitting down and experiencing the development team process, facilitators gained insights into the goals to be accomplished during the session. "1,700 program books sitting unassembled is a pretty imposing sight for conference staff. Help was on the way Tuesday night as the NBD finished their meeting and arrived back to the towers to lend a hand. Delegates began arriving on Wednesday. Most delegations showed up in buses or vans. Conference staff at Detroit Metropolitan, Freeland Tri-Cities, Lansing, and Grand Rapids airports met delegations that were flying into Michigan. These delegates were shuttled to CMU on central buses or in vans. Upon arrival at CMU, delegations were met by the hospitality cadets. The hospitality cadet directed the NCC for the school into the Carey Lounge registration area, while the rest of the delegation was escorted to the hospitality tent for refreshments. NCCs were greeted in the Carey Lounge to register the delegations. John Maher, conference coordinator responsible for registration, explains the registration process to the National Board of Directors. Once the school's delegation was registered, most everyone made themselves feel right at home. Most of the delegates were housed in the Tower's Residence Hall complex. This complex consisted of 4 residence halls: Carey, Cobb, Troutman, and Wheeler. The complex housed approximately 1,200 of the conference delegates. Each suite in the Towers houses up to 4 delegates and consists of a bedroom, a study, and a bathroom. Additionally, each suite has a private phone. A reception desk staffed around the clock provided change, information, wake-up calls, and linen exchange. Laundry facilities were available in all 4 halls. Approximately 200 additional delegates were housed in the Beddoe Hall, a 2-minute walk from the Towers complex. Set up a little differently, each suite in Beddoe housed up to 4 delegates. The suites consisted of 2 bedrooms, a study room, and a private bath. Again, private phones and all of the services of the reception desk staffed 24 hours were available to the delegates staying in Beddoe. After registering, each program presenter and each session host was asked to check in with the program committee. This was to confirm that the facilitator still planned on presenting their program and to find out if they had any additional audio-visual needs. Program presenters were also asked to check in with the program committee just prior to their scheduled presentation. Program hosts were used to introduce presenters, distribute and collect program evaluations, and to monitor the time for program presenters. The host program worked out very well. Things really got rolling on Thursday morning as the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse presented their bid to host the 1988 conference. The bid presentation was held in Anspaugh 127, a room with a capacity of approximately 150 people. This room was adequate to give the MBD plenty of working space and to hold spectators. After lunch, the delegates all went to the 5,000-seat Rose Arena for the opening ceremony. On hand to welcome delegates to Central Michigan University were Director of Housing George Jennings, Assistant Vice President for Residence and Auxiliary Services Gene Lindley, and Vice President for Student Affairs James Hill, and a special welcome for President Arthur Ellis.
We're delighted to welcome you to the campus of Central Michigan University. This is the arena of the Central Michigan University Chippewas. We won the league championship this year and played the NCAA tournament, and you're the type of students that helped us win the championship. I want you to know that. The entire university was pleased when this campus was chosen to host this conference. The entire, I won't say the entire resources, but all of the resources we can make available to the coordinators of this program are available from the university and from my office. I'm not responsible for the fact that Michigan weather is going to turn to 89 and 90 in the next days while you're in the residence hall there. But I hope you find this is a pleasant place to have this conference, that you enjoy our campus, and then when you go back to your respective homes, you will have fond memories of the few days that you spent in Michigan at Central Michigan University.
The opening presentation was given by Conference Advisor Sean Holtgreave.
The other thing that I want to talk about is the responsibility to how many people here have been to 2 nationals. You have an obligation. How many of you have been to 3? You have a special obligation. You folks know the ropes. You've all heard about the role model theory. It's nothing new to anybody who's lived in a residence hall. You're the role models. The first-year delegates are going to watch you and say to themselves, if they're not going, I don't need to go. Remember, you have an obligation to your first-year person and to the persons that have adopted you as their delegation because of their size. Last thing that I wanted to talk with you about has to do with an old philosophy that I got from my first boss here, George Jennings, who was the director of housing. He used to always tell us when the fall rolled around, residence halls were going to open whether we were ready or not. That's very true. Conference business is a lot like that. You're going to open, and the degree to which you are ready is irrelevant when people start rolling in the door. We hope we are to the stage where we're ready. I believe that we are. There's an old song that not an old song, it's a new song by Starship, and it talks about support in a way that I'm taking a little bit broader than maybe they intended to. I asked them to write a song for this session, but they told me I had to make best with what was available, so I did. I think I'd like you to listen to what's being said in this song and what I said earlier about the support that we owe to the first-time delegates and support that we then take back to the campuses in which we came from. And I guess the title probably explains what I think we're at right now. There ain't stopping us, no way stopping us now. We're going. Thanks, folks.
Following the opening ceremonies, delegates moved to rooms in Anspaugh, Moore, and Pierce for the first development team, Alpha. During Alpha, delegates received an overview of the conference activities and a review of their program book. This session was intended to allow the delegates to break the ice with one another and gain an understanding of the overall conference program. At last, the delegates got to the meat of the conference, the program sessions. Up to 60 programs were offered in each of the 7 program time slots. The conference top 20 programs were then repeated during 2 more time slots on Saturday.
All right, up it. 1, 2, 3.
Programs were offered in 4 different skill development areas. The interdimensional programming dealt with the areas of personal growth and development. The leadership dimension focuses on the positions, functions, and roles of leaders. The outer dimension of programming dealt mainly with the program development and implementation. A new dimension of programming, Beyond, explored new dimensions of leadership that are a continual challenge to experienced leaders. Programs were presented in a variety of rooms in the academic buildings of Central. Each program session was identified by a sign giving the program title, the presenter's name and school, what programming dimension the session fit into, and whether there were space limitations. Smaller sessions were held in rooms with a capacity of 25 to 50 people. Larger classrooms with a capacity of 60 to 150 people were used for a substantial number of programs. Large lecture halls were used for programs requiring more space. These large lecture halls were also used for business and regional meetings. All classrooms were in Anspaugh, Pierce, Moore, and Brooks, the 4 academic buildings that are within a 5-minute walk of the Towers complex. The Moore Hall Kiva was also used for some programming sessions. This room was also used for the business meetings and for the NRHH meeting on Saturday. All rooms were reserved over a year in advance for university events and the registrar's office. On Thursday afternoon, delegations were feverishly putting the finishing touches on their school and regional displays. Over 90 tables were used to meet the needs of the school with displays. Delegates were also busy attending their regional meetings to take care of regional and conference business, some of it serious and some of it not so serious. On Thursday evening, the advisors had an opportunity to get away to the advisor social. This proved to be a very popular attraction, giving the advisors a chance to get together and share ideas. After socializing for about an hour, the advisors sat down to a prime rib dinner in the terrace of our Bovee University Center. Of course, advisors could get away at any time during the conference by paying a visit to our advisor getaway room located in the study on the 8th floor of Troutman. Coffee, tea, and snacks were available around the clock in one of the few quiet areas on campus. Delegates ate their meals in the Cary Food Commons that is a part of the Towers complex. This commons can seat up to 1,200 people at a time. Delegates ate lunch and dinner in 2 shifts, according to the schedule made up for regions of development teams for any given meal. The Cary unit opened up with 4 serving lines at any time to move delegates through with a minimum of delay. Delegates were served the finest of CMU cuisine. Of course, when the food commons was full, it was a hotbed of activity as schools and regions displayed their pride. Some delegates even shared how they felt about each other. The hospitality room also proved to be a very popular hangout. Here, at the Meet the MBD social, delegates gathered to sample the variety of snacks and beverages that were offered each night. Movies and music videos also proved to be a fun way to pass some time. On Thursday evening, there was a wide variety of social events to choose from. CMU, along with ROTC, sponsored a repelling clinic in Finch Fieldhouse for the NACURH delegates. Other delegates who weren't boogieing the night away at the Moon Dust Dance back at the Towers were in the Rose Pool for the Splashdown Theater. No one was safe as Jaws lurked the waters of Rose. 2 showings of Jaws were offered to the first 150 people signing up. On Friday, conference staff was everywhere as delegates started another day. 4 programming sessions were offered on Friday. Delegates also attended 2 more development team sessions. These sessions were held in the study rooms of each of the floors in the Towers. The focus of these sessions was leadership skills, needs assessment, brainstorming, goal setting, and program planning. Some delegates were also busy attending a number of business meetings scheduled. On Friday night, the regions got to display their pride during roll call. Keynote speakers John and Catherine Radigan spoke about the skills necessary to make it in the world and how the delegates were learning many of those skills here at the conference. Each region got to display their talents by saluting another assigned region. Following roll call, the evening's events were about to begin. The Battle of the Galaxies pitted region against region in death-defying competition, like the day in the life of a student relay, the 4-legged relay, the suitcase relay, and the tug of war. Back at the Towers, love was happening as NACURH delegates took their chances in the dating game. An oldies dance drew in quite a crowd as well on Friday night. But anyone who was with the NRHH made it an early night because they had an early morning breakfast meeting on Saturday. The NRHH meeting was held in the Moore Hall Kiva. Those who may be interested in a career in housing attended a luncheon with Jim Grubb, a Kubo I president, and a guest panel to talk about what housing has to offer as a profession. Other delegates, meanwhile, were attending development team sessions and programs, including repeated presentations of the conference top 20 programs. The top 20 were chosen based on numerical ratings given on evaluations by delegates. Finally, it was time to wind things down. Delegates dressed their best for the progressive banquet. After mock cocktails in the NACURH food unit, delegates made a short walk to the Merrill food unit for soup, salad, and fresh fruit. When finished with this course, our guests then traveled to the Walt food unit for the main course. Delegates feasted on the best that CMU Food Services had to offer: chicken cordon bleu, jumbo fried shrimp, and roast beef. After a leisurely main course, the delegates made the last leg of their journey to the balcony area of Rose Arena for some of the best desserts east of the Mississippi. Then it was time to bring things to a close at the awards ceremony. Keynote speaker Sharon Whitaker brought the crowd to their feet repeatedly as she spoke on developing a new alphabet for success. Ms. Whitaker also presented several program sessions during the conference and was one of the conference's top 20 facilitators. Recognition for most spirited delegation, top 20 program presenters, honorary memberships, conference staff, and NBD members were all a part of the awards ceremony. The guard also passed as the new national board officers were inducted, and as UW La Crosse was announced as the host of the 1988 conference. Saturday, the delegates danced the night away at the futuristic dance featuring the latest in videos, or at an old-fashioned country hoedown complete with a dance collar. Both of these dances were held right in rows, along with a speakeasy featuring card games, refreshments, and a jazz band. On Sunday, it was time to pack up and go home. As delegates turned in their evaluations and picked up their conference gift, they said goodbye to fast-bound friends, leaving Central Michigan University with many good memories and many new gifts and skills.
No way stopping us now. We're going. Thanks, folks.